everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Iconis podcast. I know we took a little bit of a break. It's been here and there, it's whatever case be. The weather is nice. It's summer, but we are still here. We're still going. We're still rocking, and we will have episodes coming out on the weekly with some bonus clips for you. So please keep those in mind. Got to get the specs off sometimes, and keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much. On your, I see it shows you I'm a little bit rusty, right? So let's go back with this one. I'm one of your hosts of the Belliconis podcast. I am Barry 3D Carter. So good to be back and kind of getting back where how things go. On my side is the man, the myth, the legend, the one that's got the roller skaters dancing and boogieing all night long, doing that roller bounce. There we go. Who am I talking about on my side? The one and only
DJ Rod C. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be back. Let's have some fun. We got something for you. But we'll get there just now. B, what do we got to do?
Manners maketh the man. Even though in a way I still remember that. Manners maketh the man, and that's what we got to do all the time, right? All right, here we go. So first and foremost, you got to go out and support your books. Buy the books that we talk about on the show that keeps the show going, and of course, keeps the culture alive. And one of these places that we like to go to is Wow Comics out in Kitchener. Tell Wes and the guys we said hi. If you're for our fans out in Montreal, you got to go and check out Check Swings. Tell Trevor and the rest of the guys we said hi. And for those who are in Cambridge area, right? And you might not want to go over to Kitchener. Okay, that's okay. In Cambridge, we have A Hero's Tale. So tell those guys, Andrew and the guys that we said hi. You heard about him here on this podcast. Oh, sweet. Let's go, man. On top of that, we're also part of the Subculture Podcast Network. I know I've been promising some stuff to be coming out. And that's, we had to take some time, so it's all good. We're going to catch up and get going with that. But the Subculture Podcast Network is us, along with 5 other podcasters. Please check them out. Show them some love. Let them know that you heard about them here on the Apprentice podcast. And we still have things that work. Sometimes it's just a little bit slow. Okay, that's cool. On top of that, if you want to see why I'm doing comedy, we haven't done it in a while, but we're going to get back to that train very soon. And that is A Touch of Gray Matter, right? With Zolf Ali, Dave Sokolowski, and myself, Barry 3D. We're looking at some stuff. We might have some stuff coming up in September or after, so I know it's still early. We probably have stuff before then, so keep your eyes out. And where you want to know to find all this stuff, very simple. You go to barry3d.com. Once again, that's barry3d.com. That's my website. It's going to have all the links to anything I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be posting on there very frequently, so check it out. Rod, where can we find you?
As I've always said, you can find me on the World Wide Web. You can find me on the world of Instagram at Mr. Rod C. You can find me on the world of TikTok at DJ Rod C. And also you can find me at, I nearly forgot a number. On the world of TikTok, you can find me at DJ Rod C 1. DJ Rod C 1, the number 1. And then you can find me in the world of Twitch. Yeah. You can find me in the world of Twitch at DJ Rod C. Normally I put it the other way, so I normally end with 1, but that's what I did.
Hey, we're getting the ring rust off, man. It's all good. It's all good. And also another friend, and of course you've seen him on the show a lot. We've just did 3 episodes with him. Is Larry Reclazado. Please check out his Facebook page, which is Forgotten, Obscure, and Underrated Heroes. There's also another page I just joined with another admin from that group. I'm not admin. I joined it from that group. His name is Steve, and Steve has now got a new page called Raiders of the Lost Comic Book Shop. Like we were doing before at one point. Got my books. As I was saying before, we want to see your comic book stores and the places where you go and buy your collectibles and your books. But we haven't got no one reached out to us yet. That's why we haven't posted it. But we're going to start this again. And of course, now there's now a whole webpage for it that we are a part of. I've joined it, not a part of it. I've posted. Okay, cool. Remember, also, like, subscribe, and share. Don't let the show be a secret. And if you want to find where the show is at, we are also not only just on YouTube, but we're on Podbean and wherever you get your podcast from. So Podbean is the main site. You can go and check us out at iconis.podbean.com. And that's where you'll find all the links to past shows. It's 150. This is 155. And we got some bonus stuff there too. So we've been at it for a while. Build it and they shall come. Well, we've built it and we're waiting for more people to come. So please like, subscribe, and share. Let us know what's going on. And you too, if you want to build podcast or anything along those lines, you are going to need a graphic artist, and there's only one graphic artist you should work with all the time, and that is
J Bird Digital Art.
Mr. Jason Reese, J Bird Digital Art. You let him know you heard about him on the Iconist podcast, and he will give you a discount off the work. Oh, right. I think we've pretty much got it covered, and I said we're just getting out the ring rust, and we're coming back with a hard hitting one, as you've probably seen from the name. Rod, let the masses know who we speak of today.
Fist of the North Star.
Yes. Fist of the North Star. Now, we usually do a lot of books and whatever. And sometimes we deviate this stuff. And this is a property that I came across at one point when I was younger. Younger when I had hair. In the 80s. So Fist of the North Star, the first time I came across it was actually a cartoon, an anime. And I'm like, okay. And of course, I'm catching the tail end of it. I got to dig deeper. And I went back and I started digging deeper, and I found out how much of this beautiful series was there. So Fist of the North Star started off as a manga. It ran for 27 volumes. And this was first created, the original run was September 13th of 1983. And it went all the way up to August 8th of 1988. So it had a good run with these books. Now, of course, with the resurgence of the culture of mangas and animes, and because of the comic book fans, things have now come out. They're getting reprinted. They've been translated. So this was beautiful. So it was, it's had many runs, and I'm trying to make sure I get all the information here. So it was written by Borison. Thank you. And it was illustrated by Tetsuo Hara. Thank you. I got the names closer than I normally do, so there we go. And it was, and then it was and that was the original run, and then it had the English media translation. It was run under Viz Comics or Viz Media from 2003 to 2004 under the Jump Comics. So that's where they kind of got it with the English translation. So right now, just starting with the manga. So the beautiful thing about this is the world we live in today. Things are at your fingertips. You can do it. You can probably go and get electronic copies and all that, but there's nothing better than a hard cover. So it's a physical. You hear that? You hear that? So they you can do them in all formats, but for myself, I turned around and I started buying these off of Amazon. Now, of course, Amazon has put the price up. Inflation, yes. So originally when I started buying these books, so I got volume 13. I've got from volume 1 to 13. I buy them every 3 months. They drop a new one. So they kind of take their time. They've got beautiful covers. It's still read the traditional way. Instead of how we read here in North America from left to right, it's read from right to left. So the back is the front. So this is how the book is bound. You're not reading it backwards, or anyone that buys it. It really keeps what it's supposed to be. Fist of the North Star, Volume 13. The time I'm recording this, this one just came out recently. It is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it, and it follows our main character and the trials and tribulations that he has to face in that world. So, as I said, I was getting them off of Amazon. Amazon had them at like about $22, $24 before tax, and then just recently they dropped it up to like $32, $34. All right, I guess someone's got to pay for the gas for Jeff Bezos' boat. All right, then. So here's the whole theory. So that's Fist of the North Star. That's what I came about. So Fist of the North Star is a martial arts adventure that takes place in the apocalyptic world. So picture, and it had influences in the real world. So the main character, Ryu. Yeah, there's always a Ryu. There's always a Ryu. There's always a Ryu. So a Ryu. This character starts off. No, sorry, say Ryu. No, it's.
I thought Ryu. Ryu's later on. It's Kenshiro.
Kenshiro. Sorry, I see so much. There's always a Ken.
There's always a Ken. There's always a Ken. There's always a Ken. There's always a Ryu. There you go.
That's right. It's a yin and yang. Ken, Ryu. Okay, so Kenshiro is a main character in this whole world. So the whole backdrop of this world is everything was going fine, just like Thunder the Barbarian, and then of course, a war broke out. It was a Mad Max world scenario. That's how the world is left in, where only the strong survive and they prey on the weak. and they need someone to stand up for them. And this is what he calls
Mm.
Fist of the North Star. So if you were into like Shaolin movies, like the old school Shaolin movies, 36 Chambers, Shaolin versus Lama, right? The 10 Tigers of Shaolin, which is my personal favorite. Come on now, 10 Tigers of Shaolin is sick. Then this is a book for you. It's a
Mm-hmm.
series for you. This is an anime for you. You'll enjoy this. If you like your stuff a little bit more gory with the action and not like so goofy, which is fine, right? Kids, when you're younger, you watch Power Rangers. When you get older, you want to watch Mortal Kombat. Okay, you want to play Mortal Kombat. So before Mortal Kombat was Mortal Kombat, there was Fist of the North Star.
100%.
People lost limbs. They took 5 across the eyes.
Blood splatter all over the place. You hear the pain. You hear
Bring
the
the
breaking of
pain.
bones. Oh my goodness. Oh my
You know,
gosh.
it's like, you got like Method Man,
Method.
Bring the
I'm
Pain,
about to say like
right?
method, right on.
Right on, Method Man, Bring the Pain. But of course, you got the remix with probably like, Stone Cold Steve Austin's glass breaking in the background with that 3/4 beat. Dun, 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 dun. I came to bring the pain, hardcore. Come on now. See, I'm talking to a DJ. Okay, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, cuz. I'm looking at you,
Yeah,
cuz. That's the
I'm
mashup.
thinking I'm going for that right head through my head right now. I'm thinking like, okay.
I'm looking at you.
Uh,
You mash
I
up
need it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin's Breaking Glass along with Bring the Pain by Method Man as a collab, as a DJ Rod C remix. I might not mention
I'm right.
Saturday Love for the rest of this episode.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll talk. Uh,
He's breaking clouds. And I'll call him out too because I'll see him at the roller rink. No joke. So that's the Fist of North Star. So picture the world of Mad Max, martial arts, and the influence of Kenshiro.
hmm.
Character was drawn like a more muscular version, a more beefed up version of the one and only Bruce Lee. Words don't hit back. Oh, oh, oh. So Kenshiro has Bruce Lee's kind of sonic demeanor.
Hmm.
The look on his eyes all the time is very little. There's a lot of emotion, but very little emotion. On the exterior, it's all in the eyes, right? It's all just, he's very calm on the outside. But when Kenshiro starts fighting, people start
Look out!
fighting. Mm,
Look
mm.
out!
So Kenshiro, his whole tale is he starts off, you meet him very early in the story. I mean, and he's with his girlfriend, fiance at the point, and her name's Yuri, or Julia, or Julia, I think it is. And she's very trying to bring the earth back. She's got a good heart. He's trying to, because there's places in the world where you see buildings are topped over. It's a lot of desert. It really is a Mad Max thing. So it was a World War III. This is the survivors trying to make their way in the world. Strong survive. So that's the setting right there. And she's trying to plant seeds, and she's his heart. She's his soul. She's the one that makes life worth living for him. And as the Fist of the North Star, he has 2 older brothers, not adopted, but 2 older brothers as he refers to them. And they were all trained as martial artists. And you see Ken, we say Ken for short for Kenshiro. And
Hmm.
Ken, he's in a like black, he's got boots, pants, depending what version you're looking at, right? They start him off in pants,
Sure.
like with blue pants, could be blue, leather, but blue pants, matching leather jacket, no sleeves, or one sleeve is ripped off, right? And he's got like bandage up and he walks around and you see him smile very much when he's with his fiance or his girlfriend. Let's say his girlfriend at the time. He smiles a lot when he's with her because she makes him happy. But then jealousy rears its ugly head.
Hmm.
That's when uh his rival shows up, Shiro. We are talking about Shin. So he runs into his best friend Shin, and Shin is the one of the members of the Southern Cross. So that's another fighting style. So the Fist of the North Star and the Fist of the South should never meet in combat. But Shin is in love with Kenshiro's girlfriend. He obsesses about her. He wants her. And in a world where might makes right, he goes and challenges Ken. And at first, Ken doesn't take him seriously. Ken Shido's like, no, what's going on? And Shin's like, well, you know what? I've always wanted her. I always loved her. She should be with me because you're just walking the world like a gypsy with just you and her. I've got a city. I've got a palace. I can give her the best life she can, and I'm strong enough to defend her from anybody else. You're not strong to defend her because I've got an army behind me. And Shin and even his girlfriend calls out saying, hey, the Fist of the North and the Fist of the South should never fight. And because of his obsession with
Hmm.
Kenshiro's girlfriend, he is like, stand aside, got this. And the two of them go down and have their first like major fight. Things that hold Ken back. Ken, one, maybe didn't take it so much serious. He didn't realize how obsessed he was with his woman.
Hmm.
Uh, he still had a little bit more toughening up to do. He was maybe a little bit soft and more laid back. He didn't want to fight him because that was his best friend. They had a history from years as little kids growing up, learning different martial art styles. And Shin turns around and gives him this famous seven scars. He hits him with like, trying to make uh Kenshiro's girlfriend renounce her relationship with him. So he hits him with like four fingers in the chest and sinks him in deep, pulls him out, and then he starts poking other holes, causing him pain in front of her for her to say, okay, you know what? Let him live. I'll go with you, Shin. You win. You're strong enough. Don't kill Kenshiro. And leaves him for dead in the desert. And that's just like the opening chapter. And then we go down the rabbit hole. You see some two other characters show up. You see Bat and Ren. So,
Hmm.
they're two kids in this world. They're being chased by bandits. He's driving the Doom buggy. He's trying to escape them. And of course, the way people are drawn, sometimes they're drawn extremely big or extremely tiny in this world because, is it the artist's perspective? Is it intentional? I think so. They're trying to say that due to, I guess, the radiation, it causes some people to mutate to get extremely large. So you have
Right.
people walking around that can be 10 feet tall, literally. And Ken is, a normal standing person. So this is where this whole tale starts off. Now, to break it down, Kenshiro knows a style called Hoto Seiken. Hoto Seiken is, the deadly fist. That's that's his fist. And they use a lot of astrology. So every time that something is about to change, they will look up and you see it. In Japanese culture, they use the astrology a lot to say, oh, like, just like we use Jesus was born under the Star of David, right?
Hmm.
The stars do represent something. So if you see the seven stars, it's like, okay, and then when the stars disappears, like, oh, someone might die. The seven stars show up, it's like, oh, there's gonna be a change coming up. Oh, the Big Dipper shows up. That's gonna significant something else. So all the astrology that we know today does represent something in this world, and it's tightly connected to the key players who are part
Hmm.
of these martial arts styles or houses, as they would call it. So the Fist of the North Star is supposed to be the defender. He's got this ultimate style, almost seems invincible, can't be beat. He's got his moments, but there's where we are in a nutshell. So in this whole journey, we follow Kenshiro's first quest to seek revenge on his friend that tortured and left him for dead, and to reclaim his girlfriend. Along the way, he meets people that needs help. Kenshiro is never in a rush. You never see him run. You never even see him jog. This man just walks. If there's a fight that's happening miles away and there's a town getting attacked by bandits, people might show up and say, Ken, this town's getting attacked by bandits. And Kenshiro will get up and it's like, okay. And my man just starts doing a calm walk. Those bandits are driving motorcycles, modified vehicles. They have like swords made out of saws, right? Or converted saws into swords. I mean, that's to show you the world we're in. And he walks very calmly everywhere. And he'll walk into a village and it's like, who do you think you are? It's like, he just leaves. He tells us what to do. Get him. Okay, prepare to meet your maker. A couple of hits and he walks away. And then all of a sudden, because he hit pressure points, their bodies distort and they see them like the bones start breaking and body parts start exploding or they flatten. And each style is different on the effects of it. And I think this was as a teenager, I was into the graphic stuff. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. Can't let mom and dad know about this, but this is cool. There's something there for everybody. Rod, have you ever like
Said
read or watched any Fist of the North
I,
Star
I've
stuff?
never read. I've never read, but I've watched. I've watched, definitely the same like you back in the days. I watched it, numerous of times back in the days. It's been a while as of late. I will admit, probably in the last, probably in the last 15, 20 years. I don't think I've seen it that recently. But prior to that, oh yeah, I did watch that, and I agree. The whole concept of he's like, uh, oh, I just had it in my head. The okay, the individual who this is going back in the 70s, back to the time when Bruce Lee was supposed to have that show, and it was the other person who got the show, who was just a very
Grasshopper,
yes,
Kung Fu. Yes.
yes, yeah, just to show kung fu, right? So, but I'm thinking David, but that's why I can't remember his last name, so that's why
David
my mind was.
Carradine. Yeah, you're right.
Thank
David
you,
Carradine.
thank you. So it was David. I was just like couldn't remember the last name. So he had that same type of style, like peaceful tranquility. Don't bother me. Don't upset me. Then he's like the Hulk. You don't want to see me upset. Don't get me angry. You won't like me when I get angry. He's doing that kind of thing. So at that early age, you can like relate to like, oh, this is like the hidden guy. Like you like don't mess with him. He gonna mess you up. And sure enough, pressure point kind of kills, and then and walk off like nothing happened. There's a clip where someone was attacking him, and he's like, please don't do that. And I don't want to hurt you. You hurt me, and taking his thumbs across his temple right over here. Hey, he's hitting hard, and Ken is just like, "Are you done? Are you done?" Is the answer. That's when you realize I'm going home. Just stop what you're doing. You're about to ruin the image yourself that you see. No, don't do it.
We're
Walk
about to
away.
ruin the image of yourself.
Walk away. Walk
Walk
away.
away. Walk away.
Walk away. But that was again one of those early type of movies. I'll just say this right now. Since we're talking about Fist of North Star, we're gonna have to add Ninja Scrolls at some point by the end of the year. We got to do Ninja Scrolls. If we're going to do one, we're going to have to do another. Akira, I'm gonna have to throw an Akira in there as well. Right. So
MD
I'm just
Geist?
saying, just
Yeah, MD Geist. Oh, geez. Okay.
like
All
I
right.
said, so as you can see now, you guys are witness. You're gonna, if you don't see us do it in a while, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll see it. Like, right, we did promise we're gonna do that. So don't worry, we're gonna get to that. But
Crying Freeman. Crying Freeman.
like I said, there we go. So Fist of the North Star
Yes.
was a pivotal part in, at least in my introduction and my love for manga, for anime movies, foo flick type of movies and stuff along that line. They were all intertwined very easily. And you have to say, at that particular time frame in the 80s, if you like all that other genre, you can't boldly stand and say, "Oh, I've never saw Fist of the North Star." The cut eye you're gonna get, the backlash, the five across the eye, infidel, foolish mortal. What do you mean you never saw that? I'm not promoting violence.
Thinking, man.
I'll hit
you with my 100th fist of the whole 100th fist of the North Star. I'll hit you with 100th fist of the North Star, and that's a move. Okay,
and that's
okay.
the move. That's
one
before you see a Flash doing stuff like that. So there you go. But yeah, it's not before Flash would have done it before in the Golden Age Flash, but still, the point is we've seen stuff like that. So yeah, like that was definitely something that I did enjoy, and it's definitely good to be bringing back to let the new generation, the current generation, understand we had stuff like that back in the day. Trust and believe.
Trust and believe. Believe that. Because I said, Fist of the North Star is very reminiscent. If anyone likes The Mandalorian, okay, and you like that kind of style of story where that lone hero walks in there, he's kind of the lone gunman, right? It's almost like Western. The lone gunman, he comes in there, not much of a backstory, saves his town and moves on. That's The Mandalorian. Okay, before The Mandalorian movie, it was based off of Lone Wolf and Cub. Those set of mangas, right? And those covers have been redone and released by Frank Miller. Love them. My brother got me reading those. And so Fist and North Star are very similar. Very lone hero, single drive, try to save the world one step literally at a time. And he's got to fight his three brothers. And they have used the fist. Now they didn't. Here's the thing though. At the story, you find out that his brothers, I would say two out of his three brothers are stronger than him. Two out of three are stronger than him. But because their master looking at all of them, he says, no, Kenshiro, I'm going to give you the title Fist of the North Star because your philosophy in life represents it more. It's not just about power. You understand it's also going to have compassion. Your brother Rao didn't want to go that way. Your brother Rao says, well, I'm stronger than all of my brothers. I can just take it from you, old man, and take the title. And the master was even, yeah, you're strong enough to try to take it. But he tried to lock Rao's power, and Rao kind of beat him and walked away. Right? It's almost like a Ryu, Ken, Akuma, and their master Goten from Street Fighter kind of scenario.
Right.
So he tried to lock down the fist, and Rao beat him and walked away. And he said, you know what? I don't need you. I've learned everything I had to learn. And Rao goes on this whole thing. He leaves as one man, and he becomes King Rao. And then he still levels up from there. So his early main protagonist, I guess, would be in this story would be Kenshiro fighting his older brother Rao. But along that journey, he has to deal with Shin, try to get back his girlfriend, find out that she, at one point, he's told that she killed herself because she didn't want to live like a bird in a cage anymore. To find out later on that she escaped. To find out later on she becomes one of these generals in the army, but she's in full armor, so you don't even realize it's her. And they keep missing each other every so often. Like if he gets to the city, she left like literally 5 minutes ago, and vice versa. So he still has that hope, and he's still seeking her out. Then he has his brother Jaggy. Jaggy wears the mask. His brother tries to imitate him by saying he's the Fist of the North Star, forms its own gang, and they're just raiding people. But because the Fist of the North Star, the man with the 7 scars, as they refer to him, has this reputation of being invincible, Jaggy just assumes it's identity theft. Identity theft in a manga before it was a mainstream thing. Identity theft, his own brother gave himself the 7 scars, dressed similar, but because he had a previous fight with his brother, like you're saying, put the thumbs in his head and almost caused his head to explode, so his hair fell out. So Jackie had to poke himself on pressure points to release the building pressure, but his face was distorted. It was like snake eyes. You don't want to see it. This is why he had to put bolts in his head with metal straps to hold his head together so it wouldn't explode, and then put a helmet over it. And he used the I'm the man with the 7 scars. See? Remember, at that point in the world, there's no WhatsApp. There's no Zoom.
It's Walking Dead. It's the Walking Dead without the Walking Dead. It's Walking Dead without the the day risers or the day walkers.
Daywalkers.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Exactly. You're right. So this goes on. So he fights Jaggy, and that's a big fight. And you think, okay, it can't get worse than that. And then in there, he fights and meets up with his brother Rao. And when this fight happens, Rao is so powerful at this point. He looks at his brother and he says, Kenshiro, you've gotten stronger over time because you've defeated all these people along the way. It's like a video game. It's like the game of death where you got to go level by level and floor by floor.
Funny.
To the point to show you how strong Rao is in the first encounter. That cooks up like a good few issues. It's like Dragon Ball when you're watching it and it takes like 7 episodes just to get by one fight. This was it. And the thing that got me is Rao is on the back of his horse and he never gets off his horse to do this fight at first. He's fighting from a horseback, a martial arts fight, and it's just blocking his brother one-handed. They all use 2 hands. And then he's manipulating his aura and his chi and using that to strike air punches. So he's not even moving. But then my man Kenshiro comes up to the plate and he'd be like, "Oh, that's what you want to be?" And fist of the 100, the fist of the 100 of the fist. No, yeah, I can't even say it anymore. 100 fist of the North Star strike, and he goes. And anyways, it goes back and forth. They both walk away damaged, hurt, but one didn't get hand over the other. They just recognize their power and they're like, oh, and they go their separate ways, lick their wounds, and they go at it again. but along the way, he
Hmm.
still goes up and meets other martial artists from different houses. Some want to help him, some are against him. He gets into situations where he meets people, and it's like, hey, well, you know what? In this latest volume, he had to go to an island where it was all just fighters, where kids have to have at least 100 fights, death matches, before the age of 16. And if you have 100 matches, death matches before the age of 16, and you survive, then you have the right to live on the island. If not, they kill you. And then from there, you still have to have more fights. So nobody has a name on this island. And only those that have over, like, say, 2,000 like, wins in the arena to death are allowed to have a name. The rest of the time, you are nameless. You're just, hey, you, what's up, man?
Mm.
That's all. That's all it is. And this is him going through this world, trying to make sense of this world. This is why I like Fist of the North Star. Is it over the top? Yes. Is it gory? Oh, yeah. It was Mortal Kombat before Mortal Kombat. Is it martial arts?
Facts.
So that's where it comes down to. And we're going to touch on it. We talked about it a bit. So it ran for 245 issues in manga, like individual issues. So that were put together in 27 volumes. In now, keep in mind, that was we've had TV shows. So we had an original run from, and I
Yep.
want to make sure I got the right thing. So there was an anime television series that ran from October 11th of 1984 to March 5th of 1987, and that
Yep.
consisted of 109 episodes, right? Uh, then there was another anime television series, Fist of the North Star 2, because there's one, and that had 43 episodes. So that was from March 13th, 1987 to February 18th of 1988, and that ran for 43 episodes. Then there was that one OVA movie that we've all probably seen. That's what got me into it. That was like about an hour and a half. That was a condensed version of Fist of the North Star, and it just takes you on just the first couple of chapters. It left so much out because the story goes on. Then we got the volumes. And then there's the video games. Like right now on PlayStation, there's Fist of the North Star game. I can't remember what the full name is out there. There's one that's on Android called Fist of the North Star Revive, which I was playing for a good few years before. I got right into it. It's just a very simple concept, but just having the lore and the backstories in there made it that much more for me. And then we've
Hmm.
had the live action Fist of the North Star
Yep.
that had the MTV host at the time, Downtown Julie Brown, playing a character. And, overall for what they did, it was okay. What I didn't like about it, the live action movie, that one, was when you had the main character, he got into a fight, you're expecting Fist to hit and make noise. And every time he used his powers, it looked like he just touching people. Like 100 fist touch. Da, 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 da. It's supposed to do some type of damage. I wanted to hit some type of solid hits. You're not just poking air. So that was my thing on that. And and we watched like some of these animated ones that came out because they got like subtitled or dubbed over here in North America. So I remember sitting around. I don't think you were around, Rod, but I used to watch these with Winston and Kevin. So me,
Got
Winston,
it.
Kevin used to watch these, and the running joke was anytime you get every episode, we'd watch the episode, and then we would pause it before the big fight, and we made our own game called Predict the Death Blow. So we would sit there, okay, this is what it means. What's the death blow? Pause it, predict the death blow. What's going to be? Now we know we didn't know the name, but what's the death blow? Is it going to be a punch, kick, a poke? Is it going to be a flip? Is it going to be a combination? Predict the death blow. All right. And we would sit there and Winston like, okay, all right, you know what? I think he's going to do this. Sure enough, we hit play and Winston called it out right. I'm like, okay, you watch your Shaolin movie, sir. That was what our game was you pause it before the big fight. So it's a 22-minute episode. At 17 minutes, you hit pause, predict the death blow. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What do you got? What do you got? Poke the eye? What do you got? He's going to use 100 Fist of the North Star? The
Hmm.
Soto Shinken? What do you got? I think he's going to do like a couple of kicks. It's kicks? Yeah, all right, then let's go. And let me tell you, they don't really repeat much of his death blow moves. Every episode had a different name, a different move set. So it was really well expanded. That's my love for this manga. Uh, big time, big time. So a lot of characters, a lot of good, bad. Well, thanks to Viz Communications for for doing this. And then they also had a spin-off that I don't know much about, but I'm going to look more into. And it was called Fist of the Blue Sky. So,
Hmm.
and this seems to be a prequel to Fist of the North Star that was written by Nobuki Hori and drawn by Hara, the same person who did it, right? Well, with supervision by Bronson. So the two original creators came back and they kind of did this prequel called Fist of the Blue Sky and want to see how that prequel leads into this. So I know we're going to get into our fan casting part and talk about this a little bit more. But I always said something. If you had to make a mashup of certain things, for me personally, I would always like to see the characters from Street Fighter somehow do a crossover to Fist of the North Star. Be it if it's a game, if it had to be a story, if the characters like M. Bison showing up in the future, I think this would be an M. Bison scenario. He gets there, he's got his champions underneath him, so that's like, Balrog, the Vega, and who was this other guy there? The boxer. Oh, and Zangief. No, not Zangief.
Okay.
Tiger. The one that was like Tiger. Uh, I'm bad right now. It's not Zangief. Zangief is the one that does the tiger fighting style. It's got the scar across his chest. Once again, this will bug me. Yeah, I play him all the time. Sagat. There we go. Sagat. Sagat.
Sagat. Okay.
Yeah, Sagat. Give me those guys in a Fist of the North Star scenario. I think that'd be a cool crossover. That's just a random thought there. So, Rod, well, what are your thoughts? If you had to put this today,
yeah, go ahead.
No, floor is yours, sir.
No. Listen, I like if definitely, it's a good thing. I was just actually I wanted to bring up a point too in realizing there's a correlation. There's a connection between the live movie of Fist of the North Star and Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Tell?
So the connection is that you mentioned about one of the travelers, sound like Doctor Who, one of the companions of Kenshiro is there's Lin and Bat. So we're gonna talk about Bat.
Okay.
So
right.
The person who played Bat was Dante Basco, aka Prince Zuko. Also, aka General Iroh in Legend of Zorro. Then he came back needing the voice. But Zuko, I'm like, when I was doing this, and I'm like, hey, I gotta make sure I say this before I forget.
Wow.
So it's funny, like, so definitely something to go back and check. And then you're gonna start seeing faces. Cause I know personally, I love when I watch some old TV shows or movies, and you start seeing like, oh, you're in this movie, because you didn't realize at that time who that person is, who that actor is, and
right.
now they've got older, got more famous, and everything like that, and you're realizing, oh, I know who you are. So yeah, Dante Basco is playing Bat in the live action Fist of the North Star.
Oh my gosh!
So we have some degrees of separation in that. We have some degrees of separation in that. But yeah, I mean, listen, what my take on it, definitely this is something that is good to watch. It's one of those type of old, I know as of today standards, they consider an old movie, which it is. But when you watch and see what's been done on there, you realize that it held up very well. It holds up very well. It holds up very well that you can literally watch that right now and I say, okay, the antics and everything like that is what you normally expect in a manga type of portrayal. It's still good. You can see yourself understanding, like, yeah, I see the storyline, I understand what you're doing. Maybe it might be a little bit more, slower to the pace that you're expecting right now. But at that time, that was definitely stuff that was like, okay, the storyline I understand. And like you said, just like shows back then, they were into stretching the plot line, stretching the story. So you may have 3 to 4 to 5 stories to kind of get through 4 to 5 episodes to get through one story.
Yes.
It's okay. Because they're like, again, think of like a comic strip book, you're stretching it out. That's okay. So I
And
definitely say something to definitely watch, definitely to put in your radar. If you haven't heard about Fist of the North Star, I would suggest you take a moment, look it up. It's available. Like Barry's saying, you get the manga, you can get the book off of Amazon. You can look online. I'm sure you can find the series, you can find the movies,
absolutely,
and
there's so much up there to find for this series. So
100%.
to your point, and even then, like I mean, I'm reading the books, right? And I'll say this: the books don't even feel like they stretch out episodes. I know if they how they're going to show it and how they do it on TV sometimes, and I
Hmm.
use that for certain things because there's a lot of action still happening. There's a lot of story going to happen. So it's not just a fight story. There's love, betrayal. There's hope. Hope. It's a whole thing of hope and
Hmm.
overcoming big obstacles and heavy decisions that have ramifications later on for everybody that's involved. So,
Yep.
and just to get back to half a point here, I turned around and I said, okay, the live action version was done. It was an all American production of the live action film. So it was Tony Randall, so directed by Tony Randall, based on a script by Peter Atkins and Wayne McLaughlin. So those are the guys who turned around and did it, and it was loosely based off of the Shin storyline of the manga stars. So
Hmm.
Gary Daniels played
Yes.
Kenshiro
Yep.
And Costas Mandalore as Shin, and a Japanese actress Isiko Wasua as Yuria. Yuria, not Julia. So that was Kenshiro's love interest. And and it has other familiar names and all that you would see in there too.
Michael McDowell. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Huh?
yep,
It's yeah.
yep. And it even turned around and had a musical over in China that sorry, Japan and China in 2022, 2023. So just up to recently, they're still going with all these bits and pieces on this. And I said the video games are awesome. So if you have a PlayStation, unfortunately, I don't. My brother does. Lucky guy. He went and he bought the Fist of the North Star video game. But of course, you can watch playthroughs, walkthroughs within that, and still watch the cutscenes, and it's really enjoyable. Or you can get it on your mobile device. So here it is. I gave some thought
Hmm.
on what I'd like to see,
Hmm.
and because of the world we live in, it was so easy. You see how I did that rhyme there? So here it is. If I had to turn around and do a Fist of the North Star
Hmm.
right now, first and foremost, it's going to be a live action trilogy movie, if not more.
Okay.
Okay. First and foremost, so first, as I said, I know I use that word a lot. It's going to be a movie. I want it minimum trilogy, live action. I need the director or the producer of the current Mad Max universe. That was the Tom Hardy Mad Max. That's the new one, Feroso,
Yep.
because that perfectly is the world. A lot of desert, open places, maybe get a little bit more city landscapes and tribes and just mishmash of stuff. So how they did the Tom Hardy Mad Max and they set that up, how they did the original with Mel Gibson and how they used some of the cities and all that, but it's supposed
Right.
to take place after war. So it can't be like Mad Max, the original one. It's got to be the Road Warrior, the second one, Mad Max, not Beyond Thunderdome. That was so I needed that Road Warrior look and feel to a certain degree, maybe a little bit beyond Thunderdome, definitely Ferosa, um, that new one that's out. So I need that team. I want the same director,
Okay.
producers, costume designers. If you look at Mad Max's gear, that's it. The world is already built. That's how easy it
Right.
was for me. I look at that, I'm like, all right, then. Now I understand the character is a manga character. I understand all of that, and I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But
Okay.
when I look at the character and I see how he's drawn. I know it's a manga, so you might hate me on this one, but hear me out. A character that has a very similar face, even though he's not Asian, who would be my Kenshiro, that would be Scott Atkins. If you watch the Undisputed movies where he's in there and he's playing the villain, Undisputed where he plays Borka, he plays a villain. He gets his own movie from the Undisputed line. If you watch those movies, if you watch Accident Man, and
Hmm.
anything with Scott Adkins, he's got the look. He's got that kind of a very like how they draw Kenshiro in the manga. and how they draw his face. Not long, but it's the cheekbones and how everything is, his chin. It's not so square. It's a little bit more narrow. How he put that all together, how Scott looks. So you give me Scott Adkins, you get all those people from behind those the recent Mad Max movies and producers and costumes. You literally just dress him in that gear and say coordinate the fights. They're going to be hardcore. They're going to be heavy hitting. It's going to be let's go and let the magic happen. Then you
Okay.
fill out the cast with the rest of everybody else. Now, why do I say 3 parts minimum? Because every time we've gotten a movie, we've only dealt with the first couple of chapters in this storyline. And there is more that is undiscovered, like Star Trek Undiscovered Country. Okay, so there's more that's undiscovered. So we always get the same, unless you watch the series, you always get the same, the movie, the OVA, they always cover the same chapters. It's only your entry point. We need to get past that to find out how rich this world is. So the first movie could be it's going to cover what it's going to cover, the opening sequence with Shin, Gagi, with Rao, King Rao. Okay,
Hmm.
but then movies 2 and 3 should take us beyond that and bring in the other generals of the Southern Cross, bring in the other house styles, right? So you bring in Ray, you bring in other characters that we've never seen hit the screen yet, in a movie. That's why I want to go to. Let's go beyond what we know because I mean, if you got 245 issues, 27 volumes. Now that I know, and I'm only on volume 13 because that's the most recent one that's out. I've got a ways to go in this story, and you still have your prequels. I need at least 3 movies, not covering his opening story, 2 others to continue his journey, and you can do the whole story arc, or maybe not the whole story arc, but at least the whole story arc with Yuria, where he has her, loses her, finds her, thinks she's dead, and then meets her, um, and they have their happy ending, so to speak. It's bittersweet
Hmm.
because that's the world we live in. So yes, spoiler alert, they do get back together. He does find her. He does say, "Hey, I got my girlfriend back. I'm happy. I'm done fighting. You guys need to fend for yourselves." Because at the time when they finally do get back together, she's sick. She has radiation poisoning. There's nothing that can stop it. So he just goes to live out a good few years with her to be happy, knowing that they don't have much time together. And then he'll
Okay.
come back, which he does in the book. So he does walk away for a couple of years. And in those couple of years when he walks away, Bat becomes a martial artist himself. He's older. He's not the little goofy, jokey kid anymore. He's a full grown man, deadly with a crossbow, uh, or with a staff. Rin, she grows up. She becomes, a rebel leader, and they take his lessons and they still put it out there. They get a army of rebels and they go out there trying to take back the world from all these guys who think might is right. And at one point he comes back, and when he comes back, well, he just had to lay her to rest. And he comes back saying, "Okay, what's been going on while I've been away? This is happening. You guys need help. I got you." And of course, Rin gets kidnapped. So this also adds more to the story. Like Ren was almost seen as a daughter to
Okay.
Kenshiro,
Right.
right? So now he comes back and it's like, wait a minute, you just took my daughter because he never had a biological kid. So like that was almost, I wouldn't say his sidekick. He didn't see him as a son, but more as a person to train. But Rin, she didn't know how to speak at one point. She lost her voice over a traumatic experience she saw, and he used his fist to heal her, physically and mentally. And he goes, "Hey, it's all up to her now." And then she started to speak. So he always admired her spirit because it was much like his fiance, Yuria. Yuria. So it was almost like her spirit. So he sees similar qualities, and he's like, "All right, this is almost like she would have been like our child if we had a child." He treats her
Hmm.
that way. So when she gets kidnapped, and he goes looking,
Okay.
all right then,
Watch out.
all
Watch
right
out.
then, that's my 2 cents, man.
Okay. So I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and I like it. Now, I was thinking similar on a couple of things. For one, I'll start off saying, yeah, I definitely want this to be a live action. We're now, like I've said, in recent posts or episodes, that we're at the point of technology that we can make very close the amount of, for some stuff, the amount of action that you expect from a manga, from a cartoon, from an anime to real life, we would be able to bring very close to what actually was on print, bring it to life, that it can be very close to similar. There are some action that's like, okay, technology is not up to par yet, or if it's going to be, it's not going to look too great. But with Fist of the North Star, I feel that it will actually be we're at the point that we can kind of bring that from the print and make it live. So that's why I would like to be live. That's one. Two, I actually wanted to be live, but I want it to be just two episodes. I mean, like two instead of a three-peat type of scenario. Reason being, going into this, it's a action film. It's definitely a fist to cuff fighting, all techniques and everything along that line. But it's always going to come down to, always going to come down to both of these two coming together. Well, I can say both of these two. It's always going to come to Ken and someone, then Ken and someone, Ken and someone. So it might get a little bit too repetitive. To my view, I was thinking of doing it to three. So in the initial plot of it, at least as described, it's split into two. And then I'm saying, okay, he basically, went through his journey, went through his path of trying to help out those in need across the world and all that kind of stuff. And then the second part is when he's a little bit later on in life, he's kind of like, quote unquote, brought out of retirement to help out again because more people are bothered, being oppressed and so forth. I now would like to have this two separate stories, but don't have it in years apart. So I would basically say have him going against his brothers. But let's say the first movie is his brother by himself, one brother by himself. Right. Second movie, then you're going to say that definitely will be into a 3-arc type of approach. So as soon as you start off, he's going to be fighting one, and normally it's always fighting one and then fighting another one, later on. We'll have it nearly back to back. Let's say the remaining brother, we'll have to rewrite it slightly, have it rewritten a little bit slightly, and give it a little bit more a modern touch. Of thinking, I'm not going to wait for you to fight, because one brother always, in my mind, anybody of that particular leadership or in that particular mindset of trying to overpower, always think they're better than the other person. So what would be better if basically say Ken is fighting, the remaining two like thinking, let us team up together and take out Ken, but each one is thinking in the back of my mind, he's going to be too tired. After we defeat Ken, he'd be too tired. Right. No. And the other one thinking, we're both going to take out Ken, but during that process, I know I'll have enough strength to take out my brother. So why wait to, no, let me get them now because we have a better chance of taking out Ken. Although we both know that we're the stronger one, but our master father said Ken is the king of, is the fist of the North Star. So we need to be able to keep powering himself up, and whatever the case be, we need to be able to take him out. Let's work together. So I would rather have the second movie along that plot line, have it along that line. And then at the end, same way, you're thinking Lynn is gone, she disappeared, whatever the case be, she comes back, kind of thing. So you end off on a good note. I find the love of my life and so forth. And all that kind of, that scenario. Right. So that's how my mind would think to switch it up slightly in that regard and have it that way. That, not Lynn, sorry, have Julia, you find Julia is dad and Lynn. Yeah. His sidekicks, his co-worker, you know what I mean, kind of scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I would rather have a two-part movie, have the first one, let him dealing with the one brother. And at the end, of course, he defeats him. He stands tall. I'm still the master of, blah, blah, blah. But he's showing no emotions like I'm excited. He still has that deadpan type of face. Stone Cold Ken Austin having that face, and that's it, breaking beer glasses or whatever broken glass is already on the floor because it's apocalypse, so all glass is already broken, but he's picking up, cracking it, throwing around whatever pieces are left. Now who I would like to have,
Yes.
I will say right now, you said Atkins, and you heard me smirk because he was on my short list. He's like one of those shows that saying, honorable mentions. I will put
Right.
him there. I wanted to at least try to keep it, culturally as close as possible. But I was going to try to have it in modern times, have it in, like, say, the U.S. because now my mindset is saying, like I said earlier, and that's the reason I was kind of planting the seed earlier about The Walking Dead,
Yes.
because, like you said, it's there already. We're already accustomed to that type of backdrop environment. Walking Dead, I Am Legend, that type of environment. So let's have that on American, North American soil and have that taken over. So I would like to have, and it may shock people for half a second, but I actually want Simu Liu to do it. I want the opposite end. Simu Liu, Shang-Chi and the Legend of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Canadian.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it will be different because we seen him do he has the ability, he has the acting chops to keep up with the martial art aspect of it. But this will be very refrained, which will be very interesting to see because everybody is expecting him. He can do it. But again, Ken's attitude and his posture is very, as a last resort,
Yeah.
I'll raise hands to you. So it'll be funny to see him now Simu be in the reverse. He's going to have to be very chilled and relaxed. His facial expressions will have to be taking out the comical, high energy expression. I need the inverse of that.
Right.
So this will be something that'd be completely different.
Wow.
I don't think it'll be a hard challenge. I'm not thinking of it as a hard challenge. I just feel it's something that, no one's going to expect him to be able to do this, or like not expect him to be able to do it, but not expect that. So when they see it and they realize that he'll be able to pull it off, because I believe that he'll be able to do that. That he's done the, the funny parts when he was in Barbie kind of scenario. He did the half and half funny parts again in Shang-Chi. He's done, similar stuff where he's done a little bit toned down, but not as much as that. I want to just say, okay, let's just literally put you as a position of straight focus, serious face. Like no one can break you. Your face will like tickle you, laugh at you, pull a Joker type of acid, kind of jokes like Batman and not get a smirk. That would be hilarious to see that he just no action, no response. He's dead as a whip. He's sharp as a whip, deadpan, serious, and be like, "Oh, this guy is serious. He's not playing today." That's would be great to see.
All right. I like that. I see where you're going. I'll say this. I know in the story they do like a Jaggy tries to get Rao to jump Ken and Rao looks at him and is like, you know what? If you want to challenge him, you challenge him. I'm good. I got a kingdom to build. And he leaves him. And Rao actually has his own spin-off 13 episode anime that covers his journey from when he leaves his brother and how he amasses his army and goes about that. So, which is an interesting thing to watch too if you look it up there. So there's a spin-off of King Rao, his journey. But yeah, wow, okay, I like that. That's different. I had to think about it and picture it, and I'm like, okay, very interesting. So it's funny that you had Scott on your short list too. So once again, strong bloodlines. We're almost there, people. We're almost there. That's it. All right. I like that though. The two-parter. Yeah, I see what you're saying for the two-parter. If you read the mangas, you'll realize definitely pull out 3, if not more, because there's. But I get why you said a two-parter, because in this way you don't beat the repetitiveness to the over and over again. You could say
overhead and give people a chance. Give people a chance that you know what we'll come back with a third movie later on. We'll just have something different. But so it's not. There you go. Like there, like you said, there's enough meat on the bone for stories. So it's not, I'm not downplaying or refusing the idea of doing a
Oh, I
third
know, just
movie.
mess with you.
But when
Right,
you,
right.
no. But the thing is, when you go into it, people would normally kind of expect a 3-part. So we're just give
Yes,
them a 2. And then just like at the end of 2, it clearly shows the movie's done. Like the storyline is done. So when you
yes,
come back now 5 years later with another story, like, wow, we pulled something. Yeah. We're doing like a George Lucas in a sense. We're doing another sequels later on, but we're now doing another 2 later on.
wow. Okay, okay. So that's
It,
almost like uh geez, I had a movie in my head too. That was a two-parter. Oh, Kill Bill Volume 1, Volume 2, right?
100%,
And
100%.
and and for Quentin Tarantino, he turned around and he filmed a lot of scenes that we never see in the light of day, that he has a home in a vault, that he wants to turn around and get the same actors and actresses that survived in that story to bring them out years later to do a Kill Bill Volume 3. So he wants to bring back the original cast
Right,
aged over the appropriate time, like in real time, to
right.
continue the story, to have the story of Black Mamba's daughter growing up, and then the other one's daughter seeking revenge, and it kind of brings
Uh,
back those characters, which
Again,
I thought
the
the concept
story
was
was
smart if he
right there,
does it.
and you're right. The story was right there. It was it's easily hinted. Like, if we go for a third movie, we already know what the plot line is going to be. We're coming for revenge. But I'm gonna hold it.
Ooh,
I'm gonna hold it for how long has Kill Bill been? How long has Kill Bill been? That's like
I don't know.
easily,
Question, man, it's gotta be 15 years, man.
easily 15, easily
Uh,
15 or 20.
is that
But
long?
I don't know.
Is
Maybe I'm
oh
pushing with
oh
20.
no, you're right.
It was
Kill
like
Bill Volume 1
2001.
Kill Bill Volume 1 was 2003. Kill Bill Volume
Three.
2 was 2004. We are in 2024. You were dead on with
Right.
20, sir.
Yeah, that's
Facts.
all good. It's been a minute. It's been a
Facts.
good minute. So it'll be
Facts.
perfect right now. He comes out right now and drop this in people's chest and be like, oh, I nowhere saw that coming. And Kenton's like, oh, y'all didn't hear about, you guys didn't read between the lines of my interviews. I said, I took video. Foolish mortal, I am ready for you. Are you ready for me?
That was an 800-page script. Okay, so I got that. So I like how you're. Okay, so I see where you're going with that. That's cool. I'm on board. I'm on board. So yeah. Any last words before we wrap this one up, man?
Nah, dude, listen, these are one of those for us. I'll say for us, these are one of those classic movies, stories that we grew up on and helped shape us to who we are right now. So I would say definitely when you get a chance, check it out. If you haven't checked out, I've said it before. If you haven't had a chance to look into Fist of the North Star, this is the first time you're hearing about it. Welcome. Take a look. You'll find it online. I believe you'll like it, and it will just give you an insight of how it was back in the 80s and how we grew up on that love. And it's what shaped the nation. I'll just leave it at that. Fist of the North Star
Absolutely.
shaped the nation. It shaped the
Ab-
nation.
Yes, it did.
It
I
shaped.
mean, I'll say Kenshiro's famous line, right? His catchphrase was always, "You are already dead." So he'd come up, the guy would fight him. He would hit with some moves, and he would walk away. And the guy would like, "Where you going?" "You are already dead." And he'll keep walking, and then the guy just starts to explode. So you have to watch Fist of the North Star, and then you got to at least read the mangas. I support that 100% to get more of the richness of that story. There's so much there. And if you're a fan of video games, get into the game. If you're curious, jump on YouTube, just like we are on YouTube, and see it. So on that note, thank you everybody for coming out and checking out the Upon Us podcast. We really appreciate it. Remember, like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep this channel growing. Let's keep this channel going. We're here. We need you here. Thank you very much. And remember, this whole world was started by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. You need some robots. Okay. You need this of the relaxing whistle.
Pause. All right, bro.